Hey everyone. So I just want to give a warm welcome to Najla El Machtoub. She's an engineer manager at Etsy, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about women in leadership and in technology. And I'm super excited because I've known Najla for like many years, and she's super smart. And I even read in her bio that she actually started programming at 13. So I actually want to start off by just saying, what got you into programming? That's like amazing.
Hi. It's a funny story actually. I never thought I would end up as a programmer.
Mhm.
Um, and when you're 12 or 13, like how do you know like what you want? Like God knows how we get into the hobbies we get into. But the story is actually I was in high school and it was my first year of high school and I actually had a really bad time. Like I wasn't socializing well. A lot of my friends started going to a different school.
Mhm.
They were in this like magnet program related to biology, and a lot of them just went there. So I felt kind of lonely actually. So what I did was I read the school handbook and I tried to find loopholes or ways that I could switch schools.
Really?
Yeah. So public school, and you have to go to the school you're districted in. But I did find that there were these magnet programs that I could apply to, and usually they only let people who were like pre-high school apply.
Mhm.
But I found one program that didn't have that rule explicitly stated, so I still applied to it, and then I got in. And then later they realized that I wasn't in the eighth grade; that I was already in the ninth grade.
Wow.
I told them, "Well, it wasn't in your, you didn't have that written out, so you have to let me in."
Mhm.
And then they said, "Okay," and it was a computer science program at this other high school, and I just started the program a year late, and I ended up doing the first and second year combined in my sophomore year of high school, and then I graduated from this computer science program.
Wow. And you just so you just chose something, like just something just to kind of get you out of that high school, world, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny when like one day my parents were like, "Why are you taking that different bus to school?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just I just switched high schools by the way."
That's funny. Well, I mean, because some kids, so what amazes me is that like some kids at that age are very like, oh, let me just, I don't know, play a sport or get into like some type of different hobby. But you chose specifically this. Is it really because you were just really good at, I mean, because we don't learn programming in school. Like,
Yeah,
I guess not, right? Because from my time, we didn't learn it.
yeah, that's a good point. I never took it, and I didn't really know. Like most people, you don't know what it is until you start doing it.
Right.
I guess if I had to think even farther back, when I was even younger, I was toying around with all those like '90s style HTML websites, where you'd make it like with the blinky star background and like a banner across the screen
Oh
and
my God, it's fine.
tacky websites, and I was really into playing around with those.
Hmm.
At the time, I thought that was like maybe what computer science was. It wasn't really, but I
Hmm.
guess that's like one of the things that led me to say, okay, like I'm good at math, I'm good with computers. If this kind of aligns with me wanting to get out of here, then why not?
That's amazing. Wow. Wow. I mean, you picked a good industry to get into because nowadays we need programmers, we need coders, we need all of that, and like even like just being in the social media world, Facebook, they're talking about how they need to hire more engineers because they need to make privacy issues better. And like I'm just assuming what your job has, like what I don't even know what your job entails, but I know it's much needed. So tell me a little bit about like from okay, so we started from age 13. You got into programming, you liked it. How did you continue it after those years in the beginning years of sophomore year and freshman year? What did you do to kind of excel in it more?
Yeah, so I'd say like as a teenager, the things I did was just like really immerse myself in
Mhm.
all these coding classes. I was so shocked at what they all were, and because again, like you said, we haven't really been exposed to those things as children.
Right.
Um, and so I just kept like digging into like why are things the way they are, and like how do you okay, let me take this one thing I learned and see how if I can do something at home and
Mhm.
some side projects. So I kept doing that until I really decided that I wanted to go to college to become a programmer because
Mhm.
I was I felt like I was really good at it, but also it just was so fun. It's one of those things like the first time you like see a Rubik's cube and you try to like figure that out, and you're like
Right.
realize that there are certain patterns that you can apply, and then you can do it faster, and then you start playing around with your friends, like having a competition. And that's what programming kind of was every day. So concretely, like I applied to colleges in order to become a computer science engineer.
That's super cool. And in this process, I know when you initially got into it, it was mostly to find friends that you liked, I'm assuming, because you hated high school, correct? So,
Yeah.
Did you find your people?
Find my people. My best friend, who I'm still best friends with today, was one of the people that was at that other high school, and yeah, socially it was a good move for me too. And I think like being in academic or like in an academic environment, like and around people who like the same things I like, was always my kind of people.
Right, right. That's awesome. And how do you feel, actually, and now I want to ask you this because how do you feel about now that people are shifting to go to coding boot camps versus coding in university? Do you like that shift? Are you like not for it? Because you went to Columbia, correct? I think.
I went to Cornell. Cornell.
Oh, yes. One of the C's. One of the C's.
He's a Columbia professor, but
Yeah,
that is
that's right.
it's a really interesting topic you bring up, and it is really timely. So yeah, there's been a big shift, I'd say, in the last 10 years where a lot of
Mhm.
these boot camps are coming up. And for people who don't know, it's essentially like 3 to 6 month program where you usually learn what we call full stack engineering, which is kind
Mhm.
of like the basics of programming, like a website, probably like some web interface with like some simple backend. And what I have to say about those is I really, really love them.
Okay, cool.
The people that come out of those have a very different experience than someone who comes out of college with a programming degree.
Mhm.
And that is okay and encouraged, because that like kind of diversity of knowledge ends up being really useful to the
Mhm.
industry. I hire people, that's part of my job, and I have a good mix of the kinds of people on my team. And
Mhm.
the other thing I'll say about people that come out of those boot camps is, and I'm sure we're going to get into this topic later, but well, most people that graduate from college computer science are men.
Mhm. Mhm.
And a lot of what happens as people start to work and realize they want to change careers, maybe, is they look towards tech, and a lot of those people are women. So
Mhm.
women are the people that are entering boot camps a lot at a higher rate than they are entering college as engineers. So it's incredibly important for like hiring for diversity to also look to those programs.
I love that you said that because you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. As being a part of like the boot camp program, it is much cheaper, first of all, so more women can afford it, right? And then more women and men, doesn't matter. But also, I don't know about you, how you feel about this. From what I found from my experience of dealing with women engineers, I find them to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say innovative. I mean, they are innovative, but outgoing enough to be innovative and sell it with the engineering mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's hard to, we definitely don't want to put any group in any box, but like, but the point is that like when you have it's been actually proven that having more diverse teams with different backgrounds, it's not just like a better place to work, but it yields better products. So like, you look at Etsy.com. I work at Etsy, and you see like the things that are on the site. Like that's the culmination of people's ideas coming together
Mhm.
and like brainstorming. And think about having an e-commerce site without having a lot of women who work at the company.
You're right.
E-commerce industry that is kind of dominated by female buyers, and
Mhm.
it's hard to build a product for users that you can't empathize with. So
Right.
we really look to our engineers as well. Like in a lot of tech companies, we use engineers for ideas, and
Mhm.
this happens to go hand in hand, which is really cool.
I love that you said that because that is true statistically. Why, like, specifically with the statistics that are out there for women, it's all the S's, right? Um, they definitely do show those results, and that's what I found in my research when I was looking up things about coding because I wanted to be prepared for this, and I was because I'm just so interested in it. Owning like a web development company, I don't understand my guys when they speak to me at all. But the beauty of having my dad, who's an engineer, he can speak my language and speak theirs because he understands how I, as a normal, like an ordinary consumer who just doesn't understand code or anything, he's able to dumb it down for me, right? So I like where you said that you guys are able to basically understand the common buyer out there that's going on e-commerce, which is really cool. That's pretty amazing, though. That's exciting. So now, since you work, so you work at Etsy, would you say that the engineers at Etsy have to be a little bit more creative and innovative versus an engineer at some, let's say, government contracting company that's more, do you know what I'm saying? What makes you guys so different compared to someone who's working at a more brick and mortar, I would say, like, corporate type of, look,
It's
very
definitely, yeah,
traditional.
the way the role of a technologist or like a software engineer really changes from company to company. I'd say out of here, at Etsy, it's actually like part of your job that you have to kind of contribute to a lot of the brainstorming we do and like product ideation. And in some other industries, let's say like you're building tech for government work,
Mhm.
less creativity just by nature of like who your clients are.
Right.
So the cool thing about working in e-commerce or more consumer facing products is that the way things are designed, it actually involves a lot of psychology.
Mm.
And yeah, whereas like if you're building, let's say your Salesforce, like, and your customer are other big companies and you're
Right.
building, it's a bit different than say like building for the masses and see who's going to like come and use your product.
Right.
So it's kind of built for the masses. Generally, like we take that approach where we all hands on deck with like trying to think of new and creative ways to do things, or like even to just come up with customer pain points that we could potentially like have a brainstorming session for.
Mm, I love that. And as a leader for your team, because I know you said you're the head engineer or manager at Etsy. What skill sets do you have you found that you had to not only strengthen but continue to bring to the team in order to make sure that the as a leadership, especially as a woman going in there, that role is as 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, Etsy is it's about 1,000 employees, and I
Wow.
manage a couple of teams here. And to give you an idea, before this, I used to work at a fintech startup, which when I joined was about 40 people.
Hmm.
Uh, so
Different experience.
very different experiences. Um, and I think the one thing that I've learned coming in here and becoming a manager here that has made me like just a better person and a better critical thinker overall
Mm.
is how to really empower the people that I work with, uh,
Mm.
and trust that they can like solve the problem. So
Mhm.
part of being a leader anywhere, like regardless of your gender or your background,
Mhm.
is being like a person that your employees trust to uh, get their ideas through, to promote them, to give them feedback when they need it, to be honest with them all the time, and also to show that you are like an empathetic person. So this like really human element of leadership is something that I've learned a lot from here that I didn't really have experience with before because I was working in kind of a more hardcore industry.
Right, right. I love that what you just said. You said something extremely powerful, and I want to repeat it because I hope no one will miss this part. But you said that as a leader, you're trying to figure out ways to empower your team members. And I think that's something that some leaders can miss because when you're a leader, some people think, oh, they have to follow me, they have to follow my rules and the way I think things should work. But to look at them and say, how can I empower them to be leaders of their own, own roles that they're given and be able to solve problems, I think is very huge. And I think that's a very powerful skill to have. And it really shows what kind of leader you are too. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. So when you got into the whole programming, and I'm going to track a little bit just because I wanted to kind of understand where your mindset was going into this industry. Did you have fears? Were fears there? Was there any like any hesitations due to maybe, I don't know, skills that you thought you may have lacked, or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, were there any fears walking to this industry?
Yeah, so it took me a while to get the fears. So
Really?
when I started programming, I didn't know anything about like who the people around me were. Like it took me a while to realize, even like after I've been programming maybe for 3 or 4 years in high school, let's say, it took me a while to realize that I was like one of two girls in the classroom.
Oh, wow.
Didn't even think about it, which was funny. And then similarly, in college, it took me a while to like kind of realize that I was different than the people around me. And this was good in some ways and bad in others. So like the reason it was good is because I was able to just focus and be carefree and like be excited about the work and ask questions and be unashamed of all that. But the reason it was bad that I didn't notice what was going on is that in retrospect, there were some opportunities that like I didn't really get to have, or some certain types of work that I would be given versus my peers
Mm.
that kind of stunted my growth. And then when I did start to realize that stuff, it really got to me, and I kind of got down for a while about it, and I kind of just surrendered to it instead of realizing that like I should be fighting for myself and
Mhm.
like pushing forward. But I just didn't have a good picture of what that was. So definitely I'm actually forgetting your original question, but
You're answering it. No, you're answering it.
but it's definitely like I did get afraid uh, to be kind of get onto the path of who I've become now.
Yeah.
I got afraid of that for a while. I feel like I don't have that fear anymore, and I feel really proud of myself. And I feel like I understand uh, who the people are that will support me
Mm.
and vouch for me, and also that will give me like critical feedback to be the best that I can be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but certainly for a while, there was a fear of like, where do I go next, and will I be respected, and am I smart enough, and all that good stuff.
All right, feeling like whether you're good enough for this position or this role you want to take on.
Yeah.
But I like that you said surrounding yourself really helped, and you also said something that was also very important. It was like, and I want to make sure I'm not messing up your words, but oh god, now I forgot it. No, you said that going into it, you were afraid that if you weren't going to get anything, and also but then realizing that you don't have these fears anymore. And I think, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but those fears went away once you started doing it more, and understanding the position better, where you're more prepared for what's to come, and since you do it more often, right, the fear goes away.
Yeah, or you realize that the fear is like just a part of the job. Like
Yeah, that too.
like it definitely, like with experience and just like coming into my own and like understanding
Mhm.
like that I'm allowed to have my own leadership style. I'm allowed to have my own like technical points of view about things, and if they're different than other people's, it's okay. And like that comes with maturity. It comes with time in the job. Uh,
Mhm.
but realizing that like all these ways in which you are different from other people is actually just like part of the job. Like talking about those things is part of building great things. It's part of building good teams, and it's not that something that separates you from other people.
Right. I love that. That's really cool, Angie. Najla. I'm never gonna stop calling you Angie. That's a really cool. No, I'm actually very happy to hear that where you started and now becoming this type of woman, because I can just see the growth, throughout the years, just seeing how much more, I wouldn't say more mature, you were always very mature, but just reaching your fullest potential, which is really awesome. My next question for you would be like, do you see yourself growing with Etsy and continuing that position? Maybe I shouldn't ask you that since you're at work, but maybe more so, what's maybe the 10-year, 5-year plan? Do you see yourself running your own tech, coding company or whatnot, or do you see yourself growing in a position?
Yeah, this is always the hardest question for me to ask myself.
Hmm.
I honestly have no idea. I've never been one to make long-term plans around my career. I'm always of the opinion like if I'm having fun with what I'm doing and I know my worth and I'm getting my worth, then I'm really happy. I really like Etsy. The company is just it's just so everyone's so nice here, and we have a
Hmm.
really cool creative process, and there's just smart people around me, and I'm learning a lot. So that's also really important to me.
Hmm.
As far as like what my long-term goals are, I really do want to like reach a level of leadership where like either like a director of engineering or vice president of engineering for some large group of engineers. um, I definitely have thought about like startups and all that, but it'll really have to depend on where I am with my life. Like
Right.
you hear these stories of people starting companies and they work 12-hour days for a year, and
Yeah.
that's a reality. And yeah, and you put in your hours too. You know how these things are. So it
Yeah.
just depends on like your entire life, because career is just one part of it.
Hmm.
And I could also see myself going completely out of software in like 10 years. So
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
yeah,
You have other passions we need to know about?
like you never know. You might see me in 10 years just like living in some like tiny town somewhere opening a sandwich shop.
What, so it sounds like to me that you're kind of just enjoying the wave. Like you're really just enjoying whatever life is thrown at you, and at the same time you're taking it, and you're taking it by the horns and just going with it. Like you're not it's not the 10-year may not be right there, but you're just focusing on the next move.
Yeah, for sure. Like there are definitely smart people in my life who I
Mhm.
trust really well, who I would start companies with if the opportunity came up. Like my older brother and I have talked about that a lot because
I can see you guys, yeah.
he's an idea person and I'm like an executor.
Hmm.
Um,
It's a
I
good
have
team.
yeah, people I've met in the industry who I would definitely work with. So it has to be right time, right people, right idea, and it has to be
Right.
something that I'm passionate about because
Mm.
luckily, and this is definitely coming from a place of privilege, I can afford to work on things I'm passionate about now, and it's where
Right.
it's supposed to be. And I really like working here because I think the product we build is really good, and it
Hmm.
provides small businesses with tools all over the world, and I think that's really neat.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That means you're really happy where you are, and you really do see the growth in what you're doing. So that's beautiful. That's hard at your age. It's really hard to feel that way, by the way. Everyone's always trying to figure out what they want. So it's nice that you're playing within your passions.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm unwavering. Like there are days that I'm like, I hate this and I want to quit, and like everything is like up and down for everybody. But on the whole, I feel pretty.
Mm. Oh, that's amazing. So then let's say if there's a young Drew's kid out there right now listening to this podcast and they're like they so want to do coding, whether it be a girl or a guy, doesn't matter. What would you say would be right now, since we're in, 2019, what is the best next move to do for coding? To like get started in coding.
Yeah, I'd say wherever you are in your life, see what your resources are. So if you're in college, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna have classes around you. If you're in high school, um, see if you can find some like online resources for beginners at programming, or even like ask your parents if you can sign up for a class outside of school. Or high school might even have classes now. I don't know.
Right, right. They might. I think they do.
Yeah, and I think another thing for everybody to keep in mind is like these boot camps are available to everybody. They are usually sometimes even 1 to 6 months, so it depends. And it's basically like a course that can get you set up for a job pretty
Mhm.
quick.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, if anyone's listening to this, you know what to do now. You can't, no, no excuses, right? So then I guess my last question is, since you're at work and I want to make sure that you get back on time, um, what's maybe one truth you found in your journey that you would like to share with other people, um, and just that you've learned to be true for you?
Yeah, you prepped me for this question, and it actually took me a really long time to think of an answer.
Hmm.
But I think that I landed on that really, really helped me. Like the crux of everything I did was I never thought success was ever going to be given to me.
Mm.
So I always worked under the assumption that I would have nothing if I didn't work for it.
Mm.
I think like that definitely comes from a place of not only being like a woman in tech, but you know, this is a Druze podcast. Being a Druze woman,
Mm.
will expect very little of you.
Mm.
Sometimes maybe supporting you differently than they would your male peers.
Mm.
So I really realized that like I had to find my own support system or be that support system for myself and work every day on the problems that I was trying to address, usually related to my schoolwork,
Mm.
when I was younger,
Right.
and navigating that and trying as hard as I could to like demand excellence of myself. And
Hmm.
I'd say like when I think back to like how I got into Cornell, which was like the biggest accomplishment of my life at the time, right? Like,
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and
I barely got into George Mason. Just kidding.
and again, like school doesn't really matter, but like at the time,
But yeah.
I was like, I will leave this state. Like, I will like
Mm.
go somewhere where it is undeniably going to help me get to a good place in my future.
Right.
And I knew for me at the time, it was I had to like get out of state, go to like a good computer science program, and that rigor and that like that and like just knowing that if I didn't put that rigor in, I would actually fail.
Mm.
It helped me a lot. And even after I got my degree, um, like I think a lot of people graduate from a name brand school and they think that okay, success is going to be handed to me. Like I
Mm.
have that now. That again was not an assumption I operated under at all. I probably spent
Mm.
like 2 hours a day for months just applying to jobs, searching, like doing all that. So I knew that I had to keep moving.
I love that. I love that a lot because I think people think success is like some magic formula that, only special people have to figure out. And it's funny that what you said, because it's so true. It's the hard work. It's understanding what you want, understanding what you deserve and in your worth and your value, and then going after that specific thing and not letting anybody distract you, but putting the work, right? Not expecting it's going to come to you because you're trying to manifest it, or you know what I mean? Or like whatever the case may be, you're just waiting for the universe to give it to you, right?
And I think what's sad but true is that even if you try your best, you may not get what you want.
Yeah.
And that's related to that. Like, we have to be ready for those moments, because if we're not, it can destroy us. But if we prepare ourselves and we tell ourselves that we're going to keep putting in our effort, putting in the hours, and like keep being critical thinkers and not letting everything like kind of just slide off our plates, we can get to the places where we want to go.
Yeah, and sometimes what you want may not be what you need, right? So always seeing the positive in everything, right? That's amazing. Thank you so much, Najla. Seriously. Like, seriously, this was really cool. I loved everything you said. And I think any woman or man that listens to this, they'll truly see how authentic you are and how much hard work you put in to be where you're at now. And that's the most important thing I think people probably value about you, because it just shows your hard work.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the questions. This is such a cool podcast. And I wish there was more from this group. It's super cool.
Thank you. Thank you. And one last question, where can we find you? If anybody wants to reach out to you for questions, I'll put it afterwards too.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Facebook, but really the best way to reach me is through plain old email. So my email is.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, I list it now or
then I will send out, we'll make sure to put your email there and everything and have people find you. So,
Great.
All right. Thank you, Najla. You can go back to work now. We'll see you.